Hey everybody, I'm Dan Greenberg, co-founder of ShareThrough. We're one of the largest global ad tech companies. So today, I'm excited to present some new research. This new research captures a pretty significant shift in human behavior. And specifically, it's all about how people watch videos in the modern age. So what is ShareThrough? We're a new kind of ad exchange. I say that we're an ad exchange designed for humans, not spreadsheets. The idea there is that the ads we power are truly designed for the human being, designed for comprehension, designed so that the person not just sees it in the corner, but really understands the meaning. One headline stat to start with is that this recent research showed that 75% of people now keep their phone on mute while they watch videos. So while they're watching videos on their phone, 75% of the time, people are just watching with no sound. Scrolling through the Instagram feeds, scrolling through Facebook, even watching on YouTube with no sound. So first off, let me start with something kind of simple. But what does it mean to watch a video? Traditionally people say video equals like sight, sound, and motion. And so let's translate that to sort of pillars of human behavior. There's really three things going on. One is seeing with your eyes, two is hearing with your ears, and three is paying attention with your brain. Sight, sound, and motion translates again to those three really core pillars. What's happened over the past few years is that those three behaviors, for really the first time, have been decoupled from each other. In terms of hearing, sound is often off. In terms of seeing, you might actually not be watching the whole video. You might be scrolling through your feed. Maybe it's on a second tab on your computer. Maybe it's not in your direct primary attention. And in terms of attention, you're surely not sitting on your couch just paying 100% attention. That's just not how video works anymore. In addition to those three core pillars and how they've kind of been decoupled, we've introduced a fourth one. And the fourth pillar of human behavior around video is reading. So seeing, hearing, paying attention, and reading. The idea of watching video has undergone, I believe, two fundamental transformations in the past 20 years. So up until like 15 years ago, watching video meant grabbing a remote control, sitting on the couch, and watching it. Sound on, truly paying attention, no phone in your hand, big screen, and you're watching video. With the introduction of YouTube, which was 2005, and then popularized and took over the internet in 2006, 7, 8, the expansion of video on the web meant that watching video became quicker hits of content, shareable content, and often while multitasking. A video on your screen while you're doing your email, a video on the side while you're doing something else. And that was a fundamental change in terms of what watching video actually meant. There's been a third change, or I guess a second change and a third wave here, with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and Pinterest and every feed-based sort of mobile-first, mobile taking over the whole world trend that's happened over the past 5 years. The idea of watching video really has fundamentally changed. Watching video now is watching video in a feed. The sound is often off. You're reading captions. There's text overlays. And you're doing it with fleeting attention. You're doing it with quick hits. You're doing it with your thumb. You're doing it with scrolling. And watching a video, it's not better or worse. It's just different. It really is fundamentally different in the modern web, and especially the mobile web, than it was in the YouTube era, and clearly than it was in the traditional TV era. What about the TV itself? This is a surprising stat, but this came out of the research as well. Something like 30% of people say they often watch TV itself on mute, which at first blush is like, well, what does that mean? Why would you be watching on mute? But it does make sense. If you're in your house while you cook or you work or you eat or something, there's a TV on the side. Some recent Facebook data shows that 94% of people keep a smartphone in their hand while they're watching TV. Primary focus, switching from phone to TV and phone to TV. One of the ways I've made sense of this and really thought about this as a change is that we used to think about the phone as a second screen. So the phone was the second screen to TV. You're watching sports, and your phone is your way to check in on the scores, or your phone is the stats, or you're watching a show and you want to research something. Your phone is your second screen. And in reality, what's actually happened now is that the phone has become the first screen. And that really changes the way that marketers and content creators need to think about both the content and the ads intertwined with it. So now let's move on to the fourth component. And this is really the new component, this idea of reading. Up until even just 2, 3, 4 years ago, reading was pretty unrelated to video watching. But the research today says that 50% of people now actually watch TV with text captions turned on so they can better understand and comprehend the content. So a little bit more color on this, sort of the change and the eras of what watching videos has meant. And it seems kind of crazy, but when you think about why, how did that happen? Well, we've been trained by social media. We've gotten reliant on reading captions while we watch videos. We've gotten reliant on scrolling through the feed and seeing the text overlays. And for a generation, even millennials, Gen Z, Gen A, where our primary video consumption just does happen in feeds on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, TikTok, whatever, text-based captions just have become the norm. If the ads are not captioned, marketers are just leaving people guessing, like, hey, I saw an ad, but what was that about? If the content itself has captions, clearly the ads must be too. And this is a big deal. So, this, again, like I said, is pretty seemingly small, but to me it's a big deal for two reasons. One, there are billions of dollars being invested in mobile video advertising, probably tens of billions of dollars. And if people are simply just not comprehending the ads, that's a huge missed opportunity. The stat, I think, is in 2021, brands will allocate more than 50% of their video ad budget to online video or connected digital video, and 75% of that will be watched on phones. And number two, this isn't a small fad. Gen Z and Gen A make up 100 million people just in the US. And if you add millennials to that, we're talking 200 million people. So that's the research. Here's what that means to me from an advertiser standpoint. If your video has no captions and it's being watched on a desktop computer or a phone, and that phone is muted 70% of the time, 50% of the time, it's not being comprehended. For content, sometimes comprehension can work, a sports clip or something. But for an ad, especially a traditional 15-second ad with a narrative arc and a punchline and a takeaway, if there's no audio, those ads very rarely work. Second point, if I'm a marketer, why do I care about comprehension? Like, they still saw my athlete that I sponsored, or they still saw my logo, or they saw my happy family eating breakfast. But to stop and think about it for a second, comprehension is a critical pillar for any sort of successful behavior change. If there's no comprehension, it's almost impossible to get a person to encode a new idea, encode a new memory, let alone to get them actually to change their behavior. We've established that people watch videos on phones, they're in feeds, the sound is off. They even watch TV with the sound off pretty often. We've talked about how without sound, people aren't really comprehending the meaning of an ad. We've talked about how without comprehension, there really can't be any action or behavior change. And we talked about how there's a ton of money being spent on video ads today. So to me, this is a real moment for the industry and for ad tech players and marketers and creatives and media teams to sit up and rethink video advertising. First off, the best solution and the long-term solution is simply to create better content. Now, obviously, that's a tough hill to climb, but really creating better content that people actually want to stop, actually want to watch, actually want to turn the sound on for. But again, that's a long-term solution. In the short term, there is a simple answer. The simple answer in the short term is just put text captions on your videos. If you put text captions on your videos, people just will understand them more. This is already, again, happening everywhere in social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Auto captioning and human captioning and text overlays, that's a trend that started and is happening right now. And the exciting announcement today, and that we at ShareThrough have been excited about, is that you can now do this programmatically with digital video ads. As far as I know, ShareThrough is the first ad exchange to launch automatic captions for video ads. We think of our exchange as an enhanced ad exchange. So instead of an exchange that just takes a passive role and taking a creative from one side and popping it on the page on the other, we take an active role. We try to deliver ads that humans actually see, and more importantly, actually comprehend. So this feature about automatic video captioning is really just another feature on that journey. So far, we're seeing incredible performance. Adding captions to video ads increases the comprehension rate by more than 50%. And I want to call out, too, that it's for free. That's a funny word in advertising, but that's the magic of human-centric design. If you can design something with more empathy, more understanding for the end user, and design technology and solutions for actual humans, it doesn't actually cost more to run an ad, it just performs better. And so we're excited about where this is headed. Definitely stay tuned for more in terms of video enhancement, both on web and mobile, but also connected TV. Today's discussion about video behavior was just one angle into comprehension. But as you obviously, I think, picked up by now, I believe comprehension is this really underappreciated, under-discussed, under-researched topic, but critical for successful advertising. Again, if the goal of advertising is behavior change, the path to that behavior change must always run through comprehension. We've been doing research into this idea of human comprehension for probably a decade now. And if this stuff interests you, definitely come find me, Dan at ShareThrough.com, Twitter at D Greenberg. And I can definitely share the work we've done. We've done work in neuroscience, linguistics, behavioral science. Reach out if you have ideas, if you have feedback, if you want to get involved, if you want to be part of this kind of research, find us. Thanks for the attention today. Hopefully that was a comprehensible 20 minutes. And again, thanks.